I am very sorry to have to tell you this morning that the economy is actually doing pretty well. People are enthusiastic and confident about the new uh, President Trump, being in office. This has been going on for several months now since he won the election. Even before he won the election, when it was clear he was going to win, confidence was building. Companies are taking into consideration that there's going to be a positive economy going forward. And so, what do we have this morning? Well, we have what some people might call okay job numbers, but when you take into consideration, of course, the changes from the prior 2 months, which were up, not down, who would have expected? And when you have only 4% unemployment, so that ticking down, that's good news, wouldn't you say? Of course, the bond market doesn't think that's good news because the bond market says, well, the Fed won't be cutting anymore. I'm not sure why the bond market cares whether the Fed cuts. The question is, what is going to happen with interest rates? And certainly they should be thinking now at this point that DOGE is going to do what they said they're going to do. And it looks like the Republicans are actually going to follow through and help them with these cuts. Well, anyway, a lot yet to be determined, but the bonds are now pushing up against 5% again. The 10-year, that's not good news. Anyway, let's turn our attention to Tesla. 6 months ago, that was a long time ago, way back in 2024. Yeah, 6 months ago, Tesla was at $191 a share. What? Oh, yeah. On December 16th, Tesla was at 480. And now we're sitting at 375. So we're down about 20% from where we were on December 16th, but we're double where we were 6 months ago. Well, what has changed? Why have we almost doubled in 5 months? That's the real question because, I mean, car sales are down, profits are down. Well, as I said in this space earlier this year, you show me the current Tesla price, I will be happy to justify it. The stock is trading on the future, as it should. This is clear. It's always been clear. You hear me talking all the time about the sentiment, about the story. That's what Tesla is all about. People who kid you that Tesla is trading on fundamentals, they're kidding you. The fundamentals the fundamentals based on current manufacturing, current capabilities, current what's happening in terms of sales of vehicles, even sales of energy. If you extrapolate that out, you might be able to come up with a value of the stock right now at 200, 250, maybe even 300, but you couldn't come up with 375. So what's the rest of it? Why were we at 480? Because of what? Because of robotaxi and because of Optimus. You either believe that robotaxi and Optimus are going to be a big or you don't. And how you believe with regard to those two things determines what you think the stock is worth. If the stock goes to 3,000 next week, I will be able to justify it. That's my point. I mean, literally, if it went to 3,000, I could show you the path. I could show you the reason. Palantir. Somebody was giving an analysis of Palantir yesterday in terms of its present price, saying that their sales would have to go up, I forget, 100 times over the next 10 years in order to justify the price. And maybe Palantir sales will go up 100 times, but that's the reality. Palantir is a story stock as well. All right, let's go to the actual news here as opposed to Randy's ranting. Teslarati says this morning that Tesla saw 13,400 new vehicle registrations in China between January 20th to February 2nd. That period covers the Chinese New Year holiday. For comparison, Tesla China saw 8,300 new vehicle registrations during Chinese New Year holiday period last year. Oh, so that's actually good news. That's actually good news. Well, China sales were down 1% in January overall, which is actually a pretty good number given the model changeover year. I mean, the fact that we're changing over the model, the fact that there was almost no inventory at the end of the year. So yeah, I think that sounds okay. So then Rebellion Air right now is calling for the first quarter to be under 400,000. If you watched the show last night, you know that Bedford Ferguson said this. A three number, some kind of 300 and something thousand. They didn't give it. He didn't give me an actual number last night, but under 400,000. AJ is predicting more like 425, all of which, of course, is due to the model changeovers. The Chinese New Year, of course, is in there. There's the normal seasonality, especially in China. They don't do well in the winter season in terms of car sales. We have the European economy in the toilet. The Chinese economy ain't great either. And then there's those who point to Elon's politics in Europe and in the United States. And sorry, I'm not buying it. I just don't think it's having a very large impact. Now, there's something that could be impacting sales of the Tesla price points this morning, the stock price this morning, and that would be that we had Tesla director Robin Denholm selling shares, and exercising options. We had Kimball Musk selling $27 million worth of Tesla. We had CFO 𝐒𝐚𝐽𝐻, I can't say his last name, who sold 7,000 shares for 2.6 million. Now, having board members selling shares, this is, consider insider selling, and it shows potential weakness in the company because they're selling. Well, Robin does this every single time. This is just her normal way of doing things. She's always done this. It's normal. Kimball just sold in at Thanksgiving. So, it's normal for him. I don't know that much about 𝐒𝐚𝐽𝐻, but that's 2.68 million. That's not going to impact either, the stock market. It's the stock itself, and it's not really a significant shareholder decision. But anyway, overall, that could be having a little bit of an impact on prices this morning. From moneymorning.com this morning says, last week, Tesla shares fell below their 50-day moving average for the first time since October of 24. In addition, the stock has been trying to stay above the 375 level. That level provided support for the stock twice in January. I would say 380 was where the stock, but see, I'm not a technical analyst, so the technical analyst says 375 is a number. All right, I'll change. Technical traders are starting to take notice of the small breakdowns in trends as trading volume has increased on down days for Tesla. Although the big down day the other day, there was very light trading. This week's trading activity takes the stock back below levels that the stock traded at just ahead of its earnings on January 29th. Tesla shares saw a short 7% rally back above their 50-day moving average following the company's earnings report on January 29. That rally was based on Musk's bullish comments and outlook for the stock. Investors should expect that some support will help the stock at the 350 price level. This price level acted as resistance for the stock as it rallied from those October lows. It's often the case that past resistance levels turn into support levels for the stock. That said, a break below 350 will target the stock's 200-day moving average, which currently trades at 265. That move would represent a 25% decline from today's prices. Okay. So where does Randy think? Randy thinks that we're in a trading range 360 now, not 380, but 360 to 480. I think it's unlikely we'll ever get below 360 again in history, except what I said yesterday, except if the general market takes that 10 to 20% dive. If the general market decides to go into a bear status, we could definitely see Tesla at 300. Under 300? Listen, anything's possible. I think it's unlikely to go below 300 in that circumstance. And right now, I'm not expecting, I know I've been expecting that bear market forever. I don't see what's going to trigger it right now, given the economy seems to be okay. Anyway, Tesla shares remain in a long-term bullish trend, the article goes on to say, but are mired in a new short-term bear market with a price target of 300. So this is Randy Kirk. Please hit the like button, subscribe, and then hit notify Today, you got Larry, listen to this lineup. Holy mackerel. You got Larry Goldberg on this afternoon, probably around 4-ish, not 5-ish, but we usually do Friday a little earlier. Then you got Brian Wang on with an amazing program tonight at around, well, no, exactly 7:45. Tomorrow morning, Larry will be back. That might be either morning or noon, probably noonish. He and I will be going over the Kathy Wood report from tonight. That is always a huge hit. I always feel like that's the best show we do every month. And then you got Robert Scobel coming up tomorrow. We're gonna talk about robotaxi. We're gonna go through, he wrote the book on robotaxi years ago, 5 years ago. That's gonna be, I've got some really, really important stuff, and he does too, to talk about. All right, that's what's coming up. Hit notify to be reminded of all those things. All right, join Patreon. That would be lovely as well. All right, this is from Ron Paul this morning. Haven't heard from Ron for a while. He's saying, look, nearly all the mainstream media worldwide has been funded by the U.S. government under USAID. No wonder they all repeat the same things. And no wonder all of them are scared witless right now about what Elon Musk is doing with regard to Doge. Scary. It's got to be terribly scary for them. I understand that it's an existential crisis. So we'll see what happens with all that. All right, let's go ahead and talk about those payroll numbers this morning. The U.S. Department of Labor came out this morning. Total non-farm payroll employment rose by 143,000 in January. That is an okay number. It's not bad, not good. It's a little less than what the street was expecting, but it's around average. But the unemployment rate edged down to 4%. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reported today. Okay, now listen. We took a poll yesterday. I took a poll yesterday of X. Now, I know that you guys are not the same as X, but it's some of the same people, probably having a lot of the same attitudes. The poll question I asked was, do you think that you're smarter than all of the people that are on MSNBC, CNN, not just the pundits, not just the people they pay to report the news, but also the people they have on that they talk to about the news. And about 25% of you said you're smarter than all of them. And then there was the second question was, do you think that you're pretty smarter than most of them? And another 25, no, I'm sorry, that was 44% said all of them. Another 44% said most of them. So we all agree that we're smarter than these people. I don't know why we listen to them. I honestly don't know why we pay any attention to what they have to say. I go in and I get the numbers from them, but then I have to look at them myself. And I have to go into the core numbers. And so what I'm reading to you right now are the core numbers, not what CNBC said, not what CNN said. Because why? What do they completely take out of consideration? Well, because the numbers changed by 100,000 positive from November and December. You have to look at that. You can't just look at the January number and make a headline out of it. It makes no sense at all. So if you have a little bit surprisingly low number, that becomes the headline. No, the headline is that the overall number went up for the 3 months by 243,000, and that the unemployment rate went down to 4%. Now, whether you like Trump, don't like Trump, think that it's a continuation of the Biden effort, or whether you think it's because of the Trump enthusiasm, I don't care. Just the numbers are the numbers, and they're probably lousy anyway. Oh, and this also takes into consideration their 6-month change that they do, where they take a look and go back and make changes overall over the last 6 months. So there's a whole bunch of stuff going on here. But all I'm saying is that the mainstream media, the lamestream media, the old stream media, whatever you want to call them, their reporting is awful. Anyway, besides, what's going to happen is in the next report, a month from now, we're going to find out that they revised the January numbers. One way or the other, up or down, but they'll revise them. All right, the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Okay, so healthcare job gains occurred in healthcare, as they always do, and they'll probably continue to. Retail, trade, and social assistance. Employment declined in mining, quarrying, and oil. So the extraction industries are not doing that well, or they're getting more efficient. Who was it the other day? Dalio, I think. Dalio was talking about one of the reasons that commodities are flat for the last 50 years. I mean, flat, actual flat, not in adjusted amounts, they're down. Why are commodities down so much? Because they become so much more efficient at extracting. The change in total non-farm payroll employment for November was revised up by 49,000. And the change for December was revised up by 51,000 for a total of 100,000 between the 2 months. In January, these are the numbers that don't get reported. You won't find these in the reporting at all. In January, the average hourly earnings for all employees on private non-farm payrolls rose by 17 cents, or 0.5%. That is 6% per year. That is way more than the government wants it to be. Over the past 12 months, average hour earnings have increased, but if you go back and look at the net average, taking all the months into consideration, is only 4%. But over that 1 month period, it was up on an average for the year, what do you want to call it? On an annualized basis, up 6%. So 4% would be okay. The Fed would probably be like that. But if we continue with this new number around 6%, that would not be good. The average work week for all employees on private non-farm payrolls edged down by 0.1 hour. And so that is not a very big change, probably not enough to be concerned about. Well, what the bonds are concerned about is this looks very strong, because you see, these bond guys, they don't pay any attention to what they say on CNBC. These guys, the bond guys, look deeply, and they said, look, the economy is pretty strong, and that means the Fed is not going to lower interest rates. And that means that we're not going to lower interest rates, at least not until we're more certain about what the Republicans are going to do. Are they going to support Doge? That's the key. If the Republicans back Doge up, then the interest rates are going to plummet, I'm telling you, by 100 basis points. All right. So what do we got this morning? Tesla has been up. Tesla has been down. Tesla has been up 3. It has been 4, I think, at the most. Now it is down $2.08 as of this exact moment, but headed back up toward the green at this moment. It's got a little thing like that. Okay, we got the Dow down 87. We got the NASDAQ down 113. S&P down 14. We've got Magnificent Seven mostly down. NVIDIA and Meta. NVIDIA barely up. Meta up nicely. The rest of the Magnificent Seven are down varying amounts. And so basically following the NASDAQ, or the NASDAQ is following them, depending on how you want to look at that. And we've got, actually, the Cathie Wood stocks are mixed, very mixed, and maybe slightly more green than red. So that's interesting. I think Palantir is helping the actual RK and 𝐒𝐚𝐿𝐥, which are on my list there. So again, the percentages are Dow is down 0.17, NASDAQ down 0.52, S&P down 0.2, Tesla down 0.44, or $1.63. See, already heading more towards the green. Let's go look at the bonds, which were right at 5 last time I looked. They are, it's continuing. Yeah, up 6.9 basis points on the 10-year to 4.507. Not a good look. I hate it. I don't like it. You know that about me. All right. 2 years up 7.5 basis points, and the 1 month is up 1.9 basis points. All of that is the wrong direction. We got oil also going the wrong way, not by much. 57 cents up this morning, but still sitting 71.18. Will I get to 69.99 this before the close of day today? Probably not. So I'm going to miss that by $1 maybe. We'll see what happens as the day progresses. Brent working about the same as Texas. Natural gas down 0.88 at 3.378. Gold 20 has gone over 2,900 for the first time in history. $2,900 an ounce for gold. 2,903.80 actually, up $27 this morning. Silver following along, up 0.82 at 32.9. Remember again, 34 being the recent high. And copper up 2.89 this morning. Copper up strongly this morning. That's interesting. 4.59, $4.59. That is now outside the recent range. We've got the dollar rising up a little bit this morning. We have got Bitcoin up 1883, 1.95% at 98,560. All right, so there you have it. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. What do you think about all this? I think that we are on our way to prosperity, and Tesla is on its way to tripling this year, and tripling again next year. That's what I think. And I think that it's just a matter of time. And you now have Tesla again moving back towards the green. Well, no, it's moving around the green. It's moving around zero is what it's really doing. In fact, the whole market is kind of doing that. It's kind of like not really sure what we want to do with all this. So we're just going to currently be down a little bit. Could be up later today. All right. Yes. So for today, Larry Goldberg around 4-ish and Brian Wang 7:45. Please come back and check all that out. And we will enjoy. Oh, last night, that would be CERN Bash Thursday night. Yeah, CERN Basher last night. The card will be right there. Okay, I think that's it. All right. It's been great talking to you.